Shocking news. The year 2025 could be the end for America. But before we get started with this demonstration, let me read my copyright disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. What that means is that everything that you hear in this demonstration is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Salute to the chat. Salute to all my moderators. Salute to the replay gang. Salute to you, him, and her. Salute to everybody. Salute Brother Nazir. Salute Miss Wisdom. Salute Sages, Jamie. Salute Leslie. Salute 80s Baby. Salute Just Me TT. Appreciate y'all for pulling up. Salute Yvette C. Salute God's child's blessing. Now, what I want to do first with this demonstration, because I want all of us to be on the same page. So I just want to focus on some things that we all can agree with. I want us to just focus on some of the things that we all can agree on. One of the things, regardless of what religious background you may have, regardless of your belief, I do believe that we all believe that one day the world will come to an end. Now, I believe that everybody got their different beliefs on how it will end, what will take place. I believe nobody knows the exact day and time, but I do believe that most of us was brought up believing that one day the world would end. I believe it. I believe it. I don't believe that the whole entire planet, I don't believe that the whole world will be destroyed. I do believe that wicked nations, and if we go back to the Bible, and if we go into the Old Testament, it happened mostly all the time when nations that became wicked, they came to an end. Sodom and Gomorrah. How many of y'all remember the story of Sodom and Gomorrah? What about Rome? And I believe they say Rome was the greatest empire on the face of the earth. But Rome even fell. Now, in Revelations, it talk about the great Babylon, modern Babylon, in Revelations. Modern Babylon, Babylon that is speaking of, the modern day Babylon is America. If you go to Revelations, I know some of us don't really like to read Revelations. Some of us, we get spooked out about Revelations when it talk about the animals and the beast and this creature had 4 heads on it. Well, all of that is symbolic, all right? Now, when it talks about the different animals in Revelations, the animals represents the different nations. The bear, of course, represents Russia. The eagle, that represents America. The prostitute that Revelation speak about, they're speaking about America. Now, with everything that's been happening in this country prior to 2025, a lot of things has been happening in America. Now we come to 2025. It's only 11 days. So we're not even a complete 2 weeks in the new year, 2025. Have y'all been paying attention to what's going on? The wildfires out there in California, and prayer hands to those out there in LA, prayer hands to those that's out there in California that was affected by those wildfires. But you have the wildfires that completely wiped out a whole town, a whole city, whole communities, just wiped it out. Then we come to the snowstorm on the East Coast, which me and Miss Parker got caught in. We got caught in that snowstorm. A normal ride that would have took us 5.5 hours, it took us 9.5 hours, 4 extra hours. We drove through Kentucky, we drove through West Virginia, we drove through Virginia, we drove through North Carolina, 4 states. And I was in that snowstorm for 9.5 hours. I will never, ever drive in a snowstorm if it's up to me. I'll never drive in another snowstorm. 9.5 hours. Several times I just knew that we was getting ready to end up in a ditch. That's how terrible the roads were. Along with the wildfires out there in California and the snowstorm that the East Coast was hit with and part of the South. We are dealing with the New Year's New Orleans massacre, where this coward drove his truck into a crowded celebration with hundreds of people there. Not only did he drive and hit several people, he got out of the truck and unloaded the AR-15 assault rifle. Then you have the dude that was in Vegas that blew himself up in the Tesla truck parked in front of the Trump Tower building. Now you have Trump and Biden. Did y'all peep the interview when Biden was cussing? I was like, And I'm going to come down to the chat. Give me a minute. Now we have Trump. And I always give y'all the good. I always give y'all the bad and the ugly with Trump as well as everybody else. I call a spade a spade. If Trump is doing something that I like, I have no problem with letting everybody know, look, I feel Trump on this. However, when he's doing things that I disapprove of, I got to step in and say, might not want to do that, Trump. Now, and I'm going to come to the chat. Trump wants Canada to be a part of the United States of America. I disagree. Canada, in my opinion, Canada has been doing a wonderful job. And if we go back to when the country was first founded, a lot of the slaves would make it to Canada where they would be free. I don't have no beef with Canada. I never did have a beef with Canada. Canada has free health care, which we don't. And I have a lot of subscribers on my TikTok that are from Canada. And they tell me all the time, Shank, come to Canada. I got you. We got you. Just, man, leave America. Come to Canada. We got you over here. We'll take care of you over here. So what is Trump's beef with Canada? I disapprove. I disapprove of Trump wanting Canada to be a state, wanting Canada to be a part of the United States of America. Look, everything we don't have to be included in everybody's affair. I've been saying this for the longest time, and I know many of y'all feel the same way. Everything is not for America. Some people are just better off left where they're at. Do you realize what that would cause if you tried? Because Canada ain't going for it, which they shouldn't. Who the hell is Trump? So why should they bow down to Trump? And then you got Mexico. Let me read some of y'all comments, but keep this in mind. He wants to change the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. For what? Salute, Marie. TT says, then the government blocked and denied Kenya from giving Farrakhan $1 million in support towards African-American financial economy, and they telling us to come home. And y'all know that I come up under the Minister Louis Farrakhan and the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Now, that's a whole new nother subject, and I will get into those teachers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I will get into the minister. But they've always tried to block the minister from dealing with, remember, Omar Gaddafi donated millions of dollars to the Nation of Islam. But I'm going to get into the minister. But I appreciate that, TT. Sajid says, bruh, do you know some of the Canadians are rooting to be a part of America? I seen that. Maybe they know something that I don't know. That's all I could think. Maybe they know something that I don't know. And I'm willing to listen to those Canadians that wants to be a part of the United States of America. Or maybe anybody can hit me to why some of the Canadians want to be a part of the United States of America. And for all y'all that don't know, the backup channel After Dark with Shank is monetized now. So if anybody would like to purchase a membership to the channel, if anybody would like to purchase a super sticker or a super chat, just hit the $ symbol. And I will be having a celebration. I will be having a celebration at 8 p.m. tonight. And the goal is to reach 10 super stickers, super chats, or memberships. But I disagree with Trump going after Mexico. I disagree with him going after Canada. I disagree with him going after Mexico, wanting to change the name Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Look, I get it. You're a gangster. And I've been around gangsters. And I know how gangsters move. In a gangster's mentality, in a gangster's world, everything got to be that gangster. A gangster will never let things just be. The gangster can have more than we can bargain. Salute, Coffee Girl. A gangster can have this block, that block, and he could have 2 or 3 blocks, and these blocks can be bringing him millions and millions of dollars. However, the gangster, he see other gangsters getting money. Now, instead of him breaking bread with these other gangsters, instead of him leaving them gangsters alone and letting them do their thing while he do his thing, he wants to take over those blocks from those other gangsters. Well, we all know in the gangster world how it goes. And it's the same way in any world. You might be bad. You might be big and bad. But it's always somebody bigger and badder than you. Now, Trump, here he goes. And this is what I disagree with him on. Now he wants to push up on Mexico. Mexico is smaller in size. But we all know the small ones are the ones that will put them things on you. I was always taught, never underestimate nobody. That one that you estimate, that's going to be the one that's going to put you on your ass. So he wants Mexico to change the Gulf of Mexico to Mexico. I mean, to the Gulf of America. I disagree. Also, he wants Greenland. I disagree with all of that. And I know right now with Russia, with China making their moves on other parts of the country, you know, I get it. I get it. But America, we have so much turmoil that's going on in this country. We have so many issues in this country that we have to deal with. We have to address. Appreciate the membership, Yvette C. Appreciate that membership, Yvette C. We as Americans, we have so much to deal with in this country. So for me, I want Trump to just focus on making America a better place. And I think this is one thing that I do like about Trump. I do think that if Trump focused on what needs to be done in America, I do believe that Trump could make America great again. And people say, Shank, America was never great. Shank, when was America great? Sure, America was great compared to today. I'm not saying that America was once perfect. I'm not saying that America was once this perfect country. No, that's not what I'm saying. However, when he speaks about making America great again, I'm speaking of the morals, the values, the principles. Go back to the year 1979. You could go back to 1983, 84. So for me, I'm more concerned on Trump really making America great again by addressing and fixing the problems that we have in this country. Not worrying about making Canada a part of the United States of America, not changing the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, not going after Greenland, trying to make them bow down. He can do a lot in 4 years. You expected Biden, you expected Kamala to do things in 4 years. You got to expect Trump to do many things in 4 years. Same rules apply. If he focused on what needs to be done, he could get it done in lesser than 4 years. See, one thing that 2025 should have taught us all, we ain't got time to be playing games. We ain't got time to be BSing around. We ain't got time to be sugarcoating nothing for nobody. If we expected Biden and them to make things right in 4 years, then for surely we got to expect Trump to make things right in these 4 years. Wasn't he always bragging about how much of a better job that he can do than Biden? Wasn't he always bashing Biden about the job that Biden didn't do in 4 years? So if he, along with his supporters, can bash Biden and Kamala for what they didn't do in 4 years, then for surely I can come after Trump and hold Trump accountable for getting things done in these 4 years. I mean, he just escaped going to prison when he should have went to prison. That's another thing when it comes to Trump I disagree with. He should have went to prison. He had 34 felony convictions. 34 felony convictions. I went to prison for 1 felony conviction. Right? He took in the trial. I copped out to my felony charges. And how it works, when you cop out, when you take a plea, that's when they go lenient on you. However, when you take it to trial and you get found guilty, most of the times, well, all of the times, you definitely gonna go to prison, but most of the times they're gonna give you the max. Is America doomed? Is America doomed? Is Revelations, in the book of Revelations, is it coming true? Is it coming true? What is expected in the year of 2025? Those wildfires. I'm sure everybody's seen the wildfires. Give me a minute. I'm sure we've seen those wildfires.
Your point, Bob, that you just made about um, uh, looking for bodies, no doubt that number is probably going to rise. The only reason for a little bit of optimism I've heard from talking to some officials sort of quietly in the last few days is that we don't have reports of like massive numbers of, let's watch this drop, it's always fun to watch those, of family members coming forward and not knowing where their family members are. Not a lot of like missing persons or people sort of desperately looking for people, which is what you usually would have in a situation when there's a lot of people that perish. So let's hope that is an indication that maybe a lot of people did heed the warnings and get out. But the fact that the numbers are so far, at least, as low as they are, is quite remarkable when you think.
Coffee Girl says, I don't think we're doomed, but California may want to start praying and stop mocking God. TT says, I agree with that, Coffee Girl. Call Me Daddy says, we are doomed. No one likes us. People are laughing at Cali. Coffee Girl says, just me, TT, that looks biblical, don't it? And that's where I was coming from. Call Me Daddy says, in and out of USA. This is something that we all grew up on. We heard it from our grandparents. We heard it from our mothers. We heard it from our aunts. Shirley Allen says, I'm 65 years young. I've seen a lot and heard a lot. And I'm sure that Shirley can definitely testify that this was something that she was brought up on as far as the world coming to an end. I do remember before 2000, remember back in the 80s and the 90s, they were always saying that the world was going to end in the year 2000. Prince had a song called Party Like It's 1999 because we always was taught that the world would come to an end in the year 2000. Coffee Girl says Sodom and Gomorrah on the West Coast. Yes, TT says Trump been shown favor. He needs to use that and be wise in his decisions. God is sitting high and looking low. And I definitely agree with what TT said. And like I said, this is the ugly and bad when it comes to Trump. But Trump needs to pay attention. Call Me Daddy says 2022. Marie says, Shank, can I ask you to go to commercial? You had 200 people in your chat at 28. Yeah, y'all get my likes up. We got 248 watching with only 25 likes. Double tap the screen or I'm going to have to go to a commercial. Appreciate you, Marie. Tops 10 says they have all those airplanes to put endless chemtrails, but they can't handle wildfires. Exactly, Top 10s. Exactly. James says, what a coincidence. The city is next to the ocean, but can't use the water. 3 months, they drop insurance on the house, and the water hydrants don't work. Come on. Y'all see that? What made them drop the insurance? Call Me Daddy says the salt water would destroy the soil. Wow.
Unfortunately, not for this particular home.
Just look, y'all.
We watched
Look.
the home burn throughout the morning. And
Look.
From what we can gather, this
Wow.
is the...
I don't know those homeowners, but prayers to them. They lost everything. Just look at the home. Look, they lost everything.
Firefighters now were able to really focus on these particular spots where they see the truth.
And so much of the things that the elders used to tell us, it's all coming to truth. Like, remember, they would always tell us about the money. You know, you can be rich. You can have this. You can have that. But on the day of judgment, on the day of the Lord, none of that is going to save you. None of it is going to save you. I remember those words. I remember those words. You could have all the money. You could be rich. But on the day of the Lord, none of it is going to save you.
Had died down. We're not even in a high wind warning. Right. But there is concerns about later tonight. So what's good that we're seeing this dramatic effort to tamp this thing down quickly now before we expect some more high winds later tonight. Gigi Graciette on the ground right now is talking to private firefighters. We know this is an affluent area and some people are able to afford their own firefighters.
That's right. We were actually talking to LA County Fire Captain Marco Rodriguez about the private firefighters we saw stationed in different driveways as we drove up Mandeville Canyon. The captain said, the more the better. They're thankful that these private firefighters are here. Joining me now live, Scott Sanders. He's with Vista Engineering, and he has a team of private firefighters. You brought in all the heavy equipment, and you're stationed protecting one particular house that is almost fully built. It was under construction. Tell me a little bit about the concerns.
James Cap says we are not in the last days. There is still some of the prophecy that has not been fulfilled. James says we're not in the last days. There's still some of the prophecy that has to be fulfilled. James, if you could go ahead and share with us what are some of those prophecies that still have to be fulfilled, I would appreciate that. Salute Nola. Salute Nola. James says, if Solomon's temple is rebuilt on the Mount of the Rock, then here we go. Appreciate that, James. Appreciate that, James. And remember, y'all, when last year, when Hurricane Helene came through and destroyed the town of Asheville, North Carolina. Y'all remember that? Hurricane Helene came through and destroyed the town of Asheville, North Carolina. Nola says God protects those people, animals, and firefighters. Call Me Daddy says, what about the loans on the houses? How's that work if there's no insurance? Good point. Good point. Devin says, so you are saying that God is punishing all of these people with a natural disaster, even the Christians? What a loving God. Salute, Miss Parker. Salute.
At the house, and then I was up here. It got close down the canyon here. Actually, we were using this backyard to look out. And then it turned around, went back up the hill. So.
And I don't know if you know this because you're working, and you may not know this, but we saw it live on television. Unfortunately, a home has burned to the ground up the hill.
I was just up at the lookout, looking up, and I saw it burn.
What's in your mind when you see that and you're protecting the home down here?
It's terrible. I mean, it's a little scary, but it seems like we're in a good spot now. It seems like it's moving away, hopefully.
So when that black smoke, when that house went up on flames, that's when you decide, let's spray the house down, let's cover it and retard it?
We had already started spraying the retardant on it. Yeah, so we've been there since this morning doing retardant. I brought more guys in just to start hosing the neighbors' houses down, all the perimeter trees, eucalyptus trees, trying to keep everything wet.
And in your case, a private person hired you, a private homeowner,
Right,
to protect the house that they're building. Oftentimes, other companies get hired by insurance companies because I imagine, even though this is not a cheap service,
Right.
I imagine it's cheaper for the insurance company to pay a service like yours with private firefighters than to pay out what an entire home and contents might cost.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, this is, a fraction of the cost for one of these big houses. These are $40, $50 million houses. So if it goes up, it's a big loss. And the time, right, to rebuild.
Right. And the firefighters that you have, these are professional working firefighters. They may be with other agencies and simply have a week off or something, and they do this, or they've chosen to transition from a fire agency to private firefighting.
Correct, yeah. Two of the guys out of San Diego, they'd come up this morning and been helping us. And I have guys just running hoses and doing that kind of thing.
And San Diego Fire, we actually saw them here earlier.
Yeah, I'm sure they're there. I guess these guys, they work shifts, so I think these guys have been off this whole entire week, and then they're doing the spray on the houses.
Let's talk about water for a second, because you bring your own water tenders, don't you?
Correct, yeah, we have our own water on site.
So you don't even use the hose, the DWP fire hydrants?
No, if we have to, obviously we'd probably go to that point if it got to be really bad, but as of now, we have our own water buffaloes.
And what do you hear from firefighters? So that was interviewing a captain. I told him that I had seen you guys down the street. Are they generally thankful that you're here too?
It seems like, yeah, I was with one of the guys all night up there on the ridge, and he seemed very happty that we were here.
So less house they have to worry about.
Seems like, yeah, and very knowledgeable guys, obviously, and they're doing everything they can. So
How many gallons of water do your water tenders carry?
right now we have 4 500-gallon water tenders. Then if we need to refill, we have a hose on site that we've been refilling from.
Scott Saunders, Vista Engineering. Thank you so much, Scott. Be safe. I hope they don't need to pull out those hoses or start the water.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you very much. Private firefighting firms. We've seen this before. We've seen them at multiple fires. Sometimes the homeowner can afford to contract them. It is not a cheap service. Can afford to contract them privately, like this homeowner has chosen to do. Scott had been telling me the homeowner was watching what was happening in Pacific Palisades, was obviously concerned for this home that he was building with his family. Sometimes insurance companies hire these firefighting firms, station them in people's driveways, and just, you know what, protect this house, do what you can to save it in case the fire moves here.
If you're able to do it, it's definitely.
Let me slide in for a few seconds, y'all. And this is why I'm saying in the year 2025, we all have to do better. In the year 2025, it's not a black thing. In the year 2025, it's not a white thing. In the year 2025, it's not an immigrant thing. It's an American thing. And I can promise you, you're going to have white people out there helping, black people out there helping, immigrants out there helping. See, we have to look at the big picture. We all got to look at the big picture. We shouldn't have to wait for things like this to happen for us to come together as Americans. Hey, we are all Americans. We got a lot of fixing to do. Don't get it twisted. We got some fixing to do. But we got to look at each other as fellow Americans. It's no way around it. Because when the wildfire came, when the coward did the terrorist act down there in New Orleans, it's Americans of all religions that's out there helping. It's Americans of all political parties that's out there helping. It's Americans, regardless of the race, that's helping. In the year 2025, it's all about the American people. And this is why I said, for me, when it comes to Trump, believe it or not, I do think that Trump can make a difference. I do think he can make a difference. He's going to have to evolve. He's going to have to sharpen up. But I do think that he can make a difference when it comes to the American people. You got the American people that has been divided for hundreds and hundreds of years. Guess what? Guess what? Trump is not the one that caused the division. So we can't blame Trump on racism. We can't. Because the division had already been there hundreds and hundreds of years. So I do believe if Trump does what needs to be done, focus on the issues that America in-house, focus on the issues that you and I face every day as Americans. Focus on those issues. Clean those issues up. All that going after Canada, going after Greenland, going after Mexico, that's what's going to seal our fate. That's what's going to get us in World War III. Even if we win the fight, even if we win the war, we will still lose the battle. The battle is all of the lives that will be lost in that war. And that's something that we don't want to do. So this is why I keep stressing. And every demonstration that I do, I'm going to keep stressing. Y'all going to keep hearing me say, it's not a black thing. It's not a white thing. It's not an immigrant thing. It's not a Democratic thing, Republican, rich, poor, man, woman. It's an American thing. It's an American problem. And if you can't see that it's an American problem, then that's a problem for you. Because the last time I checked, we all in this country, we all are suffering. We all are suffering. Let me jump to the chat, y'all. James says, in regards to racism, Morgan Freeman said it best. If you haven't seen the clip, check it out. Love that guy. I've seen it. I've seen it. Salute, E-Back. I see you down there. Salute. James Price says, when you have war, you have casualties. Facts. Coffee Girl says, he absolutely did. James Cass, I wish more could see it the same way. E-Beck says 6 likes, gang, and countdown. Make sure y'all double tap that screen. Get me to 100 likes. We have 48. I got 321 watching. It's free. It's free. Double tap the screen to get the likes up. All right? That's the least that y'all could do. Just double tap the screen. At 10 p.m. on the main channel, we have a Shanquilla Robinson demonstration. Me and Nikki Lynn, along with the rest of the Rock Squad, we will be going over the autopsy. We will be going over the autopsy. That's at 10 p.m. tonight on the main channel. So make sure everybody pull back up on the main channel, Shank Rock, as we go over the autopsy in the Shanquilla Robinson case. Now, I'm going to go to Trump, and then we're going to get out of here. No, let me go to Biden. Let me go to Biden. I'll end it off with Trump. Let me go to Biden.
All the presidents here tonight. I want to thank them.
No offering. Nope.
I may be a white boy, but I'm not stupid. I know real power when I see it. The Divine Nine. We're honored to have presidents, all the presidents here tonight. I want to thank them. And by the way, I'm not. I may be a white boy, but I'm not stupid.
Biden says he may be a white boy, but he's not stupid.
I know where the power is. I know where the. You think I'm joking? I learned a long time ago about the Divine Nine. And that's why I spent so much time at Delaware State campaigning and organizing my campaign. I may be a white boy, but I'm not stupid. I know real power when I see it. The Divine Nine. We're honored to have presidents, all the presidents here tonight. I want to thank them. And by the way, I'm not. I may be a white boy, but I'm not stupid.
What are y'all thoughts on that? I'll leave the chat to talk to me about that. Coffee Girl says, dear Lord. What are y'all thoughts about what Biden had to say? I won't be able to run that clip where he cussed that because YouTube will flag the demonstration. Salute the Full Life. The Full Life says that boy white as a cloud. What are y'all thoughts? He said, I might be New Knob says suburb. Ebeck throws up the fours. I like Biden. I like Biden. I guess he figured what he got to lose. What do he has to lose? Salute Trelane. Salute Trelane. Oh, come on, man. Let me get out these shorts. Devin says he white. I had no idea. I don't see color. He said he white, but he's just not stupid. Maybe he took one out of Trump's page. What y'all think? Y'all think he took one out of Trump's playbook? James says, I'm trying to get over his racist remarks he made years ago about blacks. I'm trying. I know. What are y'all thoughts on this one? I gotta show y'all this, y'all. I gotta show y'all this. And I ain't gonna tell y'all what it is that I'm gonna show y'all, but what are y'all thoughts on this clip that I'm about to run? Let me know, please let me know. Coffee Girl says, again, James, I'm going to agree with you. What are y'all thoughts on this clip that I'm about to run? Please tell me.
At the National Cathedral right now, we have seen, I think this is the first president that we've seen come into the room. We are still waiting.
First, let me say rest in peace to former President Jimmy Carter. Rest in peace to former President Jimmy Carter. I want to know, how do y'all feel about Obama and Trump sitting together and laughing?
Say hello to Marilyn Quayle and former.
I'll leave it up to the chat. What are y'all thoughts?
Trump sitting next to each other, talking to each other there. But President Obama did say hello to Marilyn Quayle and former Vice President Dan Quayle.
Oh, that's such an image.
That is an image.
It's
I mean,
good.
you don't see it's always striking whenever you see any of these people who were political opponents. Although Obama and Trump never ran against each other. Here's George W. Bush and First Lady Laura Bush. Interesting how Barack Obama stood up to let them through. Again, saying hello to the former vice presidents, Al Gore, Mike Pence, and George W. Bush.
I may have missed it, Jake.
Salute Juanita. Salute Juanita. James says, same bird, different wings. These politicians are friends outside just like lawyers. Coffee Girl says, it amazes me that Obama was sitting next to Hitler and laughing so hard. I'm shook. Noob Knob says he had them at up. He had them at up. So he had them set up. Okay. What are y'all thoughts? What are y'all thoughts? Do you think that it was a part of politics? What are y'all thoughts?
Interesting how Barack Obama.
What are y'all thoughts of Obama
And former Vice President
and Trump?
Oh, that's such an image.
That is.
Devin says Obama is an amazing man and always the bigger person. He can make jokes with someone to lighten the mood, even with someone like Trump. And I thought like that, Devin. I thought. But before I said it, I said, let me come and see what the people say. How many of y'all agree with Devin? Devin says Obama is an amazing man and always the bigger person. He can make jokes with someone to lighten the mood, even with someone like Trump. How many of y'all agree? James says Obama is a class act. Didn't agree with all his policies, however, a class act. James McCarthy says, I hear zebras can't change their stripes. Ebeck says 310. Let's get them likes up, y'all. We almost at 100. Double tap the screen to get the likes up. Al Beth Shalom says seating arrangements. Definitely, sis. Juanita says, Coffee Girl, I was surprised too. James says, agreed. Coffee Girl says, did y'all see how no one said anything to Kamala? Not even Obama. I don't agree with Devin. James says Bush was the real one. He didn't speak to Trump, shaking my head. Juanita says agreed. Noob Knob says Devin, he was a good man. Yes. Then we found out 8 years later, even though he was so smart, he was evil. Look at that picture right there, y'all. And I do feel like, Obama was being the bigger person. However, I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
That image. I mean, you don't see it's always striking whenever you see any of these people who were political opponents. Although Obama and Trump never ran against each other. Here's George W. Bush and First Lady Laura Bush. Interesting how Barack Obama stood up to let them through. Again, saying hello to the former vice presidents, Al Gore and Mike Pence, and George W. Bush.
I may have missed it, Jade, but I do not think former President Bush or Laura Bush shook hands. We would walked right past them. I would Trump's. I would walk right on that.
Look at him, yeah. Look at look at Obama and Trump smiling together. The Full Life says, my friend says people make something out of everything. Right. Look at him though, y'all.
Very surprising. If they didn't, maybe we didn't see that.
We might not have seen it. The angle keeps shifting back and forth.
Right.
I'd still have it.
But you see Barack Obama and Donald Trump having what seems like friendly chit-chat. There's former President Bill Clinton with First Lady and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton walking.
All right, let me read some comments and then we're going to get out of here. But you're right. Nobody spoke to Kamala. Isn't that strange? Isn't that strange that nobody spoke to Kamala? James says, wait, no one didn't speak to Kamala. James Cat says, I truly miss the late 90s. I genuinely feel that things were on the right then. What happened? Shirley says, on the subject of Trump, he could do better, but until Trump stopped being about himself, it won't happen. And like I said, y'all, for me, and I know Trump supporters, say, Shank, it don't mean the character. It don't make a difference how his character is. In my opinion, it does. It does. I do agree with Trump in a lot of things. I do. But when it comes to his character, in my opinion, he has to evolve. Let's just take me, for instance. Let's take anybody, for instance, that comes before y'all. Let's say if I come before y'all as the content creator, and let's just say my character is all jacked up. Say my character is all whacked and everything. Say I just start cussing at y'all and just don't be polite or respectful. How would y'all feel? So it should be the same when it comes to any and everybody else. I mean, with those felony convictions, not one, not two. He was found guilty of 34 felony convictions. My opinion, he should have went to prison. He should have went to jail. That's just my opinion. I had one felony conviction that I copped out to. I took a plea deal with my felony charge. I still went to prison. He took his to trial. And if you've been in the court, if you know anything about the system, you know when you take a plea deal, that's when they go lenient on you. When you take your case to trial, they're not going lenient on you. He took it to trial. We almost at 100 likes, y'all. 18 likes away. Double tap the screen. Y'all. Leslie says, no man knows the day, the hours, and the time. Coffee Girl says, Obama wasn't faking that. If he was, he'd have spoken to Kamala. Coffee Girl says he should have spoken to her. James says, right track. This auto type is killing me today. Juanita says, Coffee Girl, he probably spoke to her earlier. Devin says, if you're looking for a president with great character, look no further than Jimmy Carter. And that's what I'm saying. When you look at all of the presidents, they did have good character. Even Bush, the son, and y'all know he was a madman. In my opinion, and it's just my opinion, y'all, he was more gangster than Trump. However, the son, George Bush, the son, he still had character. He still knew when to be diplomatic. He still knew what to say out his mouth. That's all I'm saying. New Bob says, I'm so sorry you had to take a deal, bro. Yeah, I took the deal. Tom Foolery says, dude said we were on the right track in the 90s during the crime wave. James says, a honest man like Carter wasn't built for Washington. Tom Foolery says, yeah, Trump keeps getting off easy. Yeah, I'm from Baltimore, Tom. Tom says, you from Baltimore. You got that accent. I'm from Baltimore. Misrepresented. It says, problem with Trump is that he governs fiscally like George Bush Jr. Coffee Girl says, y'all thought Clinton had good character. I mean, despite, you know, the little situation with Monica, you know, but Tom says, I took a deal too. Coffee Girl says, did y'all forget Monica Lewinsky? Noob says, Clinton did. Sir Claus says he didn't get time because they were trumped up charges and they will be dropped. I'm like you. I was fed so I could take it to trial or they would bury me. Right. That's what I'm saying. Anybody that dealt with the system, and that's state or federal, but anybody that dealt with the system, they knows if you take them to trial, they gonna mash you. Go ahead and take this plea and get a lesser sentence. Because if you take them to trial, number one, if you take them to trial, then they got to pay money, taxpayers. So when you take them to trial, them people got to pay money. Them people got to spend money for that trial. And that's like a disrespect to them. That's why the feds got a high cop-out rate. Because ain't nobody trying to take the feds to trial. Salute, Tommy. I see you, Tommy. Salute. He didn't get me because they were Trump. Okay. James says, attention, Trump is biblical. James says he had his vices, but things were getting better in so many ways. Tom says, laughing out loud, he was already convicted. It's too late for them to be dropped. Right. He was already convicted. He was supposed to went to prison. Seriously. He was supposed to win. Salute, Tracy. Salute, Tracy. Devin says, Clinton had great character between the sheets. Misrepresentative says, charges won't be dropped. It's done. He can appeal, but the courts already said everything was done proper. If I was Trump, I wouldn't even appeal it. If I was Trump, Juanita says, I took a plea because they would burn me in a trial. Exactly, Juanita. Everybody know about, and that's in a state court or federal court. Take them to trial and see what happened. James says, Ravens win in overtime 1916 over the Steelers, Shank. I don't think it's going to be close, James. Where all my Ravens fans at? I don't think it's going to be close, y'all. We 4 likes away from 100. Double tap the screen, y'all. Get me to 100 likes and we can get out of here. Ebeck says, let's support Shank Rock for more likes. Juanita says, took. Billy Meek says, these happenings God is using to get our eyes open back on him and placing our trust back where it belongs. And until we do things, will keep happening. And I agree with that. Shirley says, I was really surprised to see Trump and Obama laughing it up. That was a shock by that. Tari says, prison for Trump, period. Any normal person would be in prison. Noob says, if you get a felony first time and they drop it to a misdemeanor because you took the deal, is it still felony on record? Devin says 100. Now, this is what I want to say about God. And look, I'm not a religious fanatic. I'm not. But I do believe in God. And this is just my opinion. I do believe that if we would get back, if we would just get back on track of serving God, I do believe the majority of our problems will go away, because then men would get back to being men. Women would get back to being women. Appreciate that, Suburban. I'm a Steelers fan and the Ravens. I appreciate you, though. Hey, may the best team win. May the best team win. But and when I say get back to God, I'm not saying perfect, being perfect, But I just believe that if we get back to focusing on God and doing what's right, we still gonna make our mistakes because none of us is perfect. But where we're at now as a nation, and remember, y'all, it's not a black thing. It's not a white thing. It's not an immigrant thing. That's fine that you believe in your race. You can still believe in your race. You know, you can still have pride for your race. I don't want nobody to not represent their race. That's not what I'm saying. Represent your race. But remember that you are an American. And as an American citizen, you have a duty. You have a duty to love thy neighbor. It's in the Bible. It's in the Bible. Love thy neighbor. So you can still be all about your race. Okay? But let's just focus on being Americans as well. All right? I wouldn't want nobody to not represent their race. I wouldn't want nobody to represent their culture and what their culture has done as far as contributing to the world. But we got to understand, as Carl says, we belong to one race, and that's the human race. And I believe as Americans, if we could just focus on being better Americans, just focus on being better Americans. Love thy neighbor. Because y'all see them wildfires, y'all see all Americans out there. When that happened in New Orleans, you seen all Americans down there helping. No matter what happens in this country, it's gonna always be Americans jumping in to help out each other. You can still do your thing. You can still do your thing. But let's focus on being better Americans. And we all are Americans that belong to the human race. The scriptures, the Bible talks about on that day of judgment and in the new heaven, they sing Gentiles in the new heaven. They sing Jews. They sing all kind of people in the new heaven. And that's what I'm on. That's what I'm on. I'm on building for the American people. You know, I'm a melanated person. So, you know, I got my culture, you know, but however, I belong to the human race and I am in America and I want what's best for us all as Americans. I appreciate everybody for pulling up. Make sure y'all double tap the screen. At 8 p.m., I'm going to be having a celebration. The channel is monetized. The channel is monetized now. So I'm going to be having a celebration at 8 p.m. The goal is to reach 10 super stickers, super chats, and memberships. So make sure you all pull back up and help me celebrate the channel being monetized. Salute everybody. I appreciate y'all. And I'll see y'all at 8. And also on the main channel, Shank Rock, at 10 p.m. We will be going over the autopsy in the Shanquilla Robinson case. Me, Nikki Lynn, and the rest of the Rock Squad. Salute everybody.